السلام عليكم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز، ومن يعصيهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. قال الله عز وجل في محكمة تنزيله بعد أن نعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار لآيات لأولي الألباب وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ومن أحيا سنتي فقد أحبني ومن أحبني كان معي في الجنة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. My dear respected brothers, sisters, and brothers, it is a great blessing that Allah Azza wa Jal has allowed us to come to His house for us to remember Him. Right? We start every single talk the way every single talk should be started, and that is with the praise of Allah Azza wa Jal. That Allah Azza wa Jal is the creator of all things. Allah Azza wa Jal not only created all things, but He's sustaining all things. We could create something, we could make something, but then we see how difficult it is to sustain that thing. Right? And then we can sustain it, then we see how difficult it is to provide for that thing. But Allah Azza wa Jal has created all things. At the same time, He is sustaining all things. And at the same time, He is providing for all of these things. That Allah Azza wa Jal is able to do all things without our permission. But we aren't able to do anything. We're not able to lift a single finger without His permission. And we start with sending peace and salutations upon Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the best person who's ever stepped foot on the face of this earth. There's never been a better person than Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, we nowadays are in such a beautiful month, the month of Dhul Hijjah. It's about the 23rd or 24th, I believe, of the month of Dhul Hijjah, and it's one of the sacred months in Islam. It's one of the most important months in Islam. So what is the reason behind this month being so important? You know, obviously we have Hajj in there. We have Eid in this month. But what is the reason why we have this Hajj? What is the reason why this Eid is there? Whenever we come inside of the season of Dhul Hijjah, the season of Hajj, we can't stop but thinking of one individual. One message should come to our mind. Whenever we're in the season of Dhul Hijjah, one message should come to our mind, and one individual should come to our mind. And that is who? Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam. And whenever we think of Ibrahim alayhi salam, automatically two things should come to our mind. And so whenever we are in the season, we think of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And whenever we think of Ibrahim alayhi salam, whenever we hear Ibrahim alayhi salam's name, automatically two things should come to our mind. Two traits of Ibrahim alayhi salam should come to our mind. Other than the fact that he is Khalilullah, the friend of Allah. And the reason why he's the friend of Allah is because he perfected these two traits. He had these two traits in his life and he perfected it with flying colors. He passed these traits with flying colors. And those two traits are sacrifice and submission. Sacrifice and submission. We see throughout his entire life sacrifice and submission. From the time he's a little kid, right? Whenever his father, he goes, we all know the story, he goes and he breaks the statues. His father, the people come back and they're like, who broke our statues? Ibrahim alayhi salam broke it. Long story short, they threw him in a fire. Sacrifice. Left his, and he was the only Muslim. Everybody around him was a disbeliever except for him. He sacrificed. He grew up a little bit. And I want everybody to kind of go back 4,000 years with me. Right? We all hear these stories all the time. But let's try to put ourselves in the position. Let's try to live in the moment. Let's travel back 4,000 years. Okay? Ibrahim alayhi salam is now 80 years old. 80 years old. Right? He has reached 80 years. Allah Azza wa Jal has not given him a single child. He's been asking and asking and asking for a child. Allah has not granted him a child. After 80 years of life, Allah Azza wa Jal finally grants him a kid in Ismail alayhi salam. Right? So imagine the happiness he feels at this time. Imagine the amount of happiness and joy he has in his heart. That I've waited 80 years for a kid. Finally, after waiting this long, Allah gave me a child. Peak happiness. Right or wrong? Right? Peak happiness he must be feeling at that time. So at that time of peak happiness, Allah Azza wa Jalla tells him to do what? He says, take your wife, Hajar, and take your son Ismail, and go from here. They were in Palestine area. Go from Palestine. Go travel in a land where there's nothing there. Biwadin al There's not even shrubs over there. There's nothing there. Nowadays, even if we go to Mecca nowadays, just past the city a little bit, go out, it's a barren land. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. We look at the mountains that's around the Kaaba. They're like a ugly, it's not even a beautiful mountain. They're like, there's nothing there. There's no birds over there. There's no fruits. There's no water. Yet Allah Azza wa Jalla told Ibrahim alayhi salam, commanded him that take your son, take your daughter, and go drop him off in the middle of nowhere. Now imagine, right? Think about this, my dear son, brothers and sisters. Ibrahim alayhi salam is traveling, and it's not like you can go get, grab a plane ticket and fly like it is now. It was not like that back in the days. They traveled by foot, right? They traveled by foot. From Palestine to Mecca is around 1,400, 1,500 miles. The ulama, they have mentioned that this travel took about 2 months to complete. How long? 2 months. So imagine what's going in Ibrahim alayhi salam's mind at this time, right? Imagine what's going on in Ibrahim alayhi salam's mind. And Ismail was a baby, but in Hajar alayhi salam's mind. What is my husband doing? And Ibrahim alayhi salam was commanded to not tell her anything. Commanded to not tell her anything. Right? They reach Makkah. Ibrahim alayhi salam drops her off. And drops off Ismail alayhi salam. Then he starts walking away. Again, commanded not to say anything. He starts walking away. So as he's walking away, Hajar alayhi salam starts asking, what are you doing? You're leaving us here in the middle of nowhere? There's nothing here. Ibrahim alayhi salam keeps walking. Asks again, what are you doing? Why are you leaving us here? Keeps walking. Asks the third time, what are you doing? Then something came in her mind and she asked, did Allah Azza wa Jalla command you to do this? Ibrahim alayhi salam nodded, which after this nod, Hajar alayhi salam replied what? إِذَنْ لَن يُضَيِّعَ عَنَ اللَّهِ. In that case, Allah will never waste us. In that case, Allah will never waste us. These people over here, right? These were the lights of the mothers of Islam. People like this, they mothered the lights of Ismail alayhi salam, who became the father of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is the lights of these mothers. Ibrahim, now let's go back. Ibrahim alayhi salam is continuing, and he's walking away. Right? It said that whenever he kind of circled around the mountains, Hajar alayhi salam was out of sight. Ismail alayhi salam was out of sight. Again, he was commanded not to talk. They reached over there, Ibrahim alayhi salam reached over there, and that's whenever he raised his hand and cried to Allah. رَبَّنَا إِنِّي أَسْكَنْتُ مِنْ ذُرِّيَّتِي بِوَادٍ غَيْرِ ذِي زَرْعٍ. Oh Allah, I've left my child, I've left my child, and I've left my wife in the middle of nowhere. بِوَادٍ غَيْرِ ذِي زَرْعٍ. In a valley that there's nothing there. فَجْعَلْ أَفْئِدَةً مِنَ النَّاسِ تَهْوِي إِلَيْهِمْ. Oh Allah, make the hearts of the people inclined towards this place. Now look at this. The dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam that he made 4,000 or 5,000 years ago is accepted today. Where? Each and every single one of us, right? We have the strange feeling in our heart that we just want to go to Makkah. Right? We just want to go there. Whenever we leave there, we have a strange feeling that why are we leaving? I wish I could stay longer. This is the dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, Ibrahim alayhi salam, sacrifice and submission. Sacrifice and submission. Ibrahim alayhi salam, a few years later, around 5-6 years later, the ulama, they differed on how long it was between the gap between this. But then Ibrahim alayhi salam was commanded to go back to your son. Go back to your son and build the Kaaba. Imagine how happy he was at this time. After leaving his son, a kid that somebody he waited 80 years for, Now Allah is telling him, go back to him. Now imagine the happiness he feels at this time. And now Ismail alayhi salam has reached the age where, right, Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions in the Quran, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيُ. He reached an age where his son is able to kind of like walk around with him. His son's able to go out with him. Right? Ibrahim alayhi salam would go out and work, his son would go and go with him. So those of us who have children, we have that in our hearts. That at that age, the love that we give for our children is way more than, before Ismail was just a baby. Not taking away from the sacrifice is a big sacrifice. But now Ibrahim alayhi actually knows his son. Now Ismail alayhi is actually calling his dad, oh father, oh my father. At this age, they know each other. They have so much love for each other. At this age, Allah Azza wa Jalla gives Ibrahim alayhi in a dream. And the Prophet's dream, there were revelations, right? So he sees in his dreams that he is slaughtering his son. He sees in his dream that he is slaughtering his son. Somebody who he left, he waited 80 years for it, then he left him in the middle of nowhere. Finally, Allah Azza wa Jalla gave him the command to go back to him. Imagine again the peak happiness. He's finally with the son again. He's happy. Now Allah Azza wa Jalla is saying what? Slaughter your son. Slaughter your son. Imagine the hearts, my dear brothers and sisters. Imagine the hearts of Ismail alayhi salam, the heart of Ibrahim alayhi salam. What is going on in their mind? Again, we see that they are prophets, they're anbiya, but at the same time they're human beings. That the natural thing that's in each and every single one of our hearts of being human, it's still there in the prophets. They were not free from that. They still had that. So imagine now this conversation that's going on between Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam goes to Ismail alayhi salam. Ya bunayya. He starts with such a beautiful way of calling out your child. Right? This is the pinnacle of love. The way he called out to his child Ismail, the pinnacle of love. Ya bunayya. Oh my beloved son. Inni ara fil manami anni adbahu. I see in my dream that I'm slaughtering you. I see in my dream that I am slaughtering you. Fandur mada tara. What do you think? What do you think? Again, this is a child. Ismail alayhi salam at the time is a child. 8-9 years old. Fandur mada tara. What do you think? What do you say? What's your opinion on this matter? Right away, Ismail alayhi salam returns with what? Qala ya abati. With such a beautiful word. Ya abati. Yep. Ibrahim alayhi salam used ya bunayya. A very beautiful way of calling your child. Ismail alayhi salam returned with what? Ya abati. A very beautiful way, and the most beautiful, the pinnacle of love of calling your father. If'al ma tu'mar. Do whatever you're commanded to do. Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin. You'll find me from amongst the people, from amongst those who are patient. Now again, I want everybody to kind of realize what's going on. We've heard this story hundreds of times. Realize what's going on over here. These people are human beings. Even at this time, some ulama, they say that even at this time, Ibrahim alayhi salam is shocked. How are you agreeing so easily? Do you know what I'm telling you to do? I'm going to slaughter you. Allah commanded me to slaughter you. And the ulama say that at this time, Ismail alayhi salam replies with what? He replies with, what's the big deal? I'm going to Allah. After you slaughter me, I'm going to Allah. And Allah is more beloved to me than you are to me. So in place of you, I'm getting Allah. And I'm going to Jannah. And Jannah is more beloved to me than this dunya. And in place of you, I'm getting Jannah. So it's a win-win situation. What's the big deal? Look at the mindset of this child. Then he says what? But the only thing is my mother, she raised me. She did everything for me. She did that whole running between Safa and Marwa for me. She might feel some sort of, she's definitely going to be hurt. Whenever I'm slaughtered, whenever I leave this world, she's definitely going to be hurt. So the ulama write that at that time Ismail salam took off his shirt, gave it to his father, and said, "Give the shirt to my mother. That whenever she sees the shirt, she remembers me. Whenever she wants to think of me, she has something to remember me by." Look at the hearts, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Now, فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا, they both did what? Submitted. Sacrifice and submission. فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا, they both submitted. The father and son, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ismail alayhi salam. وَتَلَّهُ لِلْجَبِينِ. And I want everybody to imagine what's going on now. Right? Ismail alayhi salam tells his dad that whenever you slaughter me, lay me face down. Lay me face down. So whenever you start slaughtering, you might see me struggle. You might see me cry. You might see pain in my face. And because of that, it might become difficult for you to fulfill the commandment of Allah. So for that reason, lay me face down. فَلَمَّا أَسْلَمَا, whenever they both submitted to the will, Ibrahim alayhi salam submitted that he's going to lose his son and he's going to sacrifice him. Ismail alayhi salam submitted that he's going to die and become sacrificed. وَتَلَّهُ لِلْجَبِينِ, laid him down. Right? And those of us who just sacrificed, the animal just a few weeks ago, we have that feeling in our heart whenever we're about to sacrifice, that that feeling we get that we're taking this animal. We feel that pain in our heart, even though it's just an animal. We have no connection to this animal. Like back home, like Pakistan, India, in those areas, we see that like 1, 2, 3, 4 months before they bring the animal. The kids start playing around with the animal. You're taking care of the animal. You get that connection to the animal. And then you sacrifice it. Then you feel a little bit of what Ibrahim alayhi salam felt. Obviously, a very small percentage, but we feel a little bit of what he felt whenever he had to go and slaughter his son. And then Allah Azza wa Jal replaced his son, as we know, with an animal. So again, what is the point of mentioning these stories? Why did Allah Azza wa Jal bring these stories in the Quran? We don't hear these stories as feel-good stories. These stories are not in the Quran for us to be like, wow, subhanallah, mashallah, amazing stories, and we just go about our days. There's lessons in each and every single one of these stories. The lesson in this story is what? That if you sacrifice, if we submit to Allah, if we sacrifice for Allah, do we really think that Allah is going to let us down? Do we really think Allah is going to leave us? If we give to Allah, do we really think Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to leave us? One of my teachers used to say that with ordinary sacrifices come ordinary results. But with extraordinary sacrifices come what? Extraordinary results. This whole sacrifice that Ibrahim alayhi salam did with his son, dropping him off, and then slaughtering him, or being ready to slaughter him. It's an extraordinary sacrifice. Because of this extraordinary sacrifice, Allah Azza wa Jal gave them an extraordinary result in giving him the progeny and giving Ismail alayhi salam and making him the father of the best person to ever come and step foot on the face of the earth, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us the ability to understand these stories, to give us the ability to implement these stories, the lessons that are inside of these stories. Give us the ability to submit. And whenever He tells us to submit, we submit without any excuse. Whenever Allah Azza wa Jal tells us to sacrifice, we sacrifice without any excuse. And we stop making these false claims in our mind, false, interpretations of different things. And whenever He tells us to submit, we submit. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us the ability to act upon what has been said, to give us the ability to go and propagate this message throughout the entire earth, and to give us the ability that inshallah one day in Jannah we're sitting there with Ibrahim alayhi salam, sitting there with Ismail alayhi salam, and they themselves could narrate the story to us one day inshallah. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد إن الله أمرنا بأمر بدأ به بنفسه وثنى بالملائكة وثلث بنا حيث قال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وأنزله المقعد المقرب عندك. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حياء عثمان وقضاهم علي وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة والحسن والحسين سيد شباب أهل الجنة وحمزة أسد الله وأسد الرسول رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الله الله في أصحابي أي اتقوا الله في أصحابي لا تتخذوهم غرضا من بعدي فمن أحبهم فبحبي أحبهم ومن أبغضهم فببغضي أبغضهم وخير القرون قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا أرحم الراحمين يا من لا تراه العيون ولا تخالطه الظنون ولا يصفه الواصفون. اللهم اجعل خير عمرنا آخرها واجعل خير أعمالنا خواتمها واجعل خير أيامنا يوم نلقاك فيه يا رب العالمين. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولذكر الله تعالى أعلى وأولى وأعز وأهم وأتم وأجل وأكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
سووا صفوفكم واعتدلوا وحاذوا بين مناكبكم وسدوا الخلل. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. ربنا إني أسكنت من ذريتي بواد غير ذي زرع عند بيتك المحرم ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة فاجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم وارزقهم من الثمرات لعلهم يشكرون. ربنا إنك تعلم ما نخفي وما نعلن وما يخفى على الله من شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء. الحمد لله الذي وهب لي على الكبر إسماعيل وإسحاق إن ربي لسميع الدعاء. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريته ربنا وتقبل دعاء. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. وقال إني ذاهب إلى ربي سيهدين رب هب لي من الصالحين فبشرناه بغلام حليم فلما بلغ معه السعي قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى قال يا أبت افعل ما تؤمر ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين فلما أسلما وتله للجبين وناديناه أن يا إبراهيم قد صدقت الرؤيا إنا كذلك نجزي المحسنين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.